We're at Crewton Ramone's housemath.com with a tutoring session with a young cheerleader. I believe this girl is 16 or 17 years old. I think it's 16 years old. Um, Doing algebra. Shattered self-confidence. Unbelievable. Again, I have to question the kind of system we've set up that actually causes damage to children's self-esteem when it comes to mathematics. And I can take a university of more than one, University of Women's Studies, that are now, God, more than a decade old, saying that all you gotta do is show me the child's, or show me the woman's grade in algebra, or actually just their grade in high school as a sophomore, I believe it was, freshman or sophomore. And the personality profile is pretty easy to complete. Of course, there are exceptions to the rules. Kids that get F's in algebra can go on to have high self-esteem, and kids that get A's in algebra or math in high school can go on to have low self-esteem. But more often than not, the correlation is direct. Higher grades in math in high school, higher self-esteem later on in life. Lower grades in math in high school, lower self-esteem in life. And again, later on in life. And again, as a math teacher, or somebody that's doing math tutoring, do you really need the math? Well, you don't need the math as much as you need the self-esteem, I can assure you. Okay, so anyway, this child right here, and good-looking girl, but man, just no confidence when it comes to, I mean, she's a little shaken up. She's gotten a lot better, and I haven't have been errant in bringing my camera along when I've been tutoring her. But she's really wishing that, well, she doesn't know it, but she really would have been benefited by having this method when she was younger, because the next chapter in her book is many of my 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds can ace at duck soup, because it's all about factoring polynomials and all about solving for x when you have and completing the square and so on and so forth, and just not a problem because they can see it, whereas the symbols actually can freak her out sometimes. I've put some things on a board where actually we're just combining like terms in algebra, and she gets temporarily panicked, let's put it that way. Anyway, so here we have a quick lesson on exponents, and you can see here that this part of the lesson right here, this is example, is 2 to the 8th the same thing as 2 to the 3rd raised to the 5th? Do we just add the exponents here? And the answer is no. I didn't take the picture, but anyway, I was explaining that this is going to be 2 to the 15th, and the way we could get 2 to the 8th is by adding exponents. And then what happens, we're here playing find the one, find the one, find the one, find the one. And seeing what happens when we have a negative exponent and so forth. And just explaining it and showing it to her this way, but also, and I didn't get pictures of it, with the blocks, showing how to do it with the blocks, why that works out the way it does. But here's a closer look at, let's say here, that would be 2 to the 4th over 2 to the 3rd. So you find the ones, right? And you wind up with just 2 to the 1st. And here you have, what is it? I guess it's 2 to the 5th over 2 to the 7th. Yep, there's the symbols for it. And there's me drawing it out, so she can literally see there's a 1, there's a 1, there's a 1, there's a 1, there's a 1. What's left? Well, on top there'd be 1. This all works out to 1. And over here I have 2 2's, which would be 2 to the 2nd. And so we can see that we're subtracting the exponents in order to get 2 to the negative 2nd. And what 2 to the negative 2nd really means is 1 over 2 to the 2nd. And that when we, quote-unquote, bring this up, as kids like to say, it becomes negative, because that negative sign tells me that it's reciprocal. And so if I have a negative 2 down here, what happens? And so on. So they can see that really 1 over 2 to the 2nd and 2 to the negative 2nd are the same, and why it is when we have opposites that they wind up flipping around and so forth. And it's not just rules, they kind of get an understanding of why it is that we, and what the symbols mean. Let's see. So there she is, looking pretty happy. We're doing some algebra, and she's just factoring, like I said, a very simple one, many of my little 8-year-olds and 5-year-olds even can do this problem. But for her, it's the first, some of her first exposures to it. And see, do you really want to wait this long to expose the child to factoring polynomials? Or would it be better to get them when they're younger? Anyhow, so she factored it and can see that it's x plus 3 and x plus 2. Not a problem. Like I said, this is some of her first exposure to this. And then here we are. We did some more problems. Like I said, I barely took out the camera because I'm working on it and I forget to bring it out. But here she is pondering x squared, 8x, and 16 and what the sides would be. And when I tell her to use economy of symbol, and she's seen the light bulbs going off, and she goes, oh, and she saw that x plus 4 squared, right? Starting to see what that exponent can do and what we mean by economy of symbol and why we use exponents and so forth. And then we fooled around a little bit with completing the square, because I looked in her next chapter. She's on chapter 8, and in chapter 9 they've got stuff about completing the square and factoring polynomials and so forth, and distributive theory of multiplication, and etc. So when she gets to chapter 9, she's going to be all happy because she can do it all. And understand, better than that, understand what it is and be able to see what the problems are. And then later on, when we have problems like this, and they're not just factored, but we're going to set them equal to numbers, so we can discover what x is, she'll be able to do those also. Anyhow, just a quick screencast with this student. I see her, I think, once or twice a week. Right now I think it's twice a week, but we're going to probably quickly go down to once a week because she'll get it and it's easy. But basically building the confidence so that she can do the math with, without freaking out and having math anxiety and so forth. And actually the last time I went down, I missed the message, but she was feeling pretty confident and I didn't need to go. So basically when I got there, because she understood everything, basically when I got there we were able to concentrate on stuff that was coming up in the future and go over some of the stuff that she said she understood, and it turned out maybe there was some further explanation that I could give, actually. Anyhow, Crewton Ramone's House of Math.com for more on the algebra especially, and we'll try to get some pages up that talk about doing exponents like this and so forth, and how to show them and how to, explain them using base 10 manipulatives. Anyhow, Crewton Ramone's House of Math.com for more.